Hello class, today I'm going to teach you about the process of photosynthesis. Now, before I begin, I must tell you right now, I am going to teach you photosynthesis in two different ways. First, I'm going to be teaching you in a story format, which includes a cast of characters and a sort of story plot, so then you can see the process in motion. Afterwards, I will go back and I will explain it in scientific terms and explain the process and break it down for you. Alright, so with all things said, let us begin. Once upon a time, you have a place called the plant. And in this plant, everything works together for the benefit of the plant. Now, you also, throughout the plant, you also have these places called the leaf. And this leaf is in charge of the leaves are in charge of making all the food for the plant. And dwelling among these leaves are these little fellows called chlorophyll. Now, the chlorophyll are very hardworking in the leaf. They're the reason why the leaves are green. And they also tend to invite all of their friends who are from the sunlight. So one day we have a little chlorophyll decides to invite his friend, the sun. And so chlorophyll and the sun, they have a lot of fun together, and Sun very much enjoys his visit in the city of Leaf. He enjoys this so much that the sun decides to stay in the city of Leaf. Now, Sun is not the only one who visits the city of Leaf. You also have a little friend called Water. Now, Water is not from the plant. In fact, Water is actually from outside the plant. Water, when she arrived, actually came from the plant's roots. Down here. And when she came through the roots, she traveled all the way up through the stem to the leaf. And in this leaf is where she meets the sun. And when she and the sun meet, they both fall in love. And so from this lovely union between the sun and water, they have two children, oxygen and hydrogen. Now, the first of these two children, oxygen, thought that the leaf was a nice place, but he wasn't exactly very fond of staying there. He felt a little trapped. So one day, when his parents oxygen really didn't like Leaf. Every chance he wanted to see the world outside of Leaf, outside of plant. In fact, he heard of a place called the Animal and would rather go there. So, as soon as the chance arose, Oxygen went out into the leaf and then went outside the leaf and off into the abyss. Now, Hydrogen is a pretty good little girl. In fact, really nice young lady. She was very great. She helped her parents. She stuck around the leaf when after her brother left and comforted her parents while they were there. And so one day, Hydrogen and of course Hydrogen's deeds were rewarded. Her love for her parents were rewarded. So one day, while she was around the leaf, she meets a nice fellow visiting the leaf named carbon dioxide. Now, like water, carbon dioxide isn't from inside the leaf. Isn't from the inside of the plant. Carbon dioxide actually came to the city of Leaf through some gates called stomata, which were little holes in the leaf on the underside, but very, very tiny gates. So carbon dioxide, he and hydrogen meet, and they fall in love. And so, from this union of hydrogen and carbon dioxide, you get their pretty little daughter, their pretty sweet little daughter, sugar, otherwise known as glucose. Now, like I said, glucose and sugar, glucose is a very nice little girl. And so, she was so sweet that her mother decided that the city of the Leaf was not a place for her to stay. In fact, well, even though the leaf is part of the plant, hydrogen decided that sugar would benefit the whole plant if she went out of the leaf and into the rest of the world. And so, when the day came when sugar was finally ready to leave the leaf, she left she left out of the leaf into the stem and went throughout the plant, and the rest of the plant thrived. So kids, I ended up throwing out a lot of terms at you, and so it's about time I break this down for you. Now, let's start with the definition of photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the process in which plants convert light energy, usually sunlight, into food for it to eat. Now, plants are the only creatures that can perform photosynthesis. Now, we need to point out the things that photosynthesis needs. Photosynthesis needs a light source, like the sunlight. It also needs water, like what you would drink. And it also needs carbon dioxide. So, inside, like I said, when I had introduced this process, I had talked about chlorophyll. Now, you also need chlorophyll is very important because chlorophyll is the tiny little green sacs inside of the leaf that capture the sunlight, and also is the reason why the leaf is green. And if you know what the components of water are, you will, does anybody know why water, know the other name for water? Well, the other name for water is called H2O, hydrogen and oxygen. And so when you combine the sunlight with the water, you end up breaking water apart into hydrogen and oxygen. Now, oxygen is a sort of waste of the plant. It is like when an animal breathes breathes and gives off carbon dioxide. Likewise, when plants take in carbon dioxide, they also exhale oxygen. And so oxygen is one of the products of photosynthesis. Now, carbon dioxide comes into play when it comes in the plant breathes in the carbon dioxide, and carbon dioxide combines with hydrogen to make sugar, otherwise known as glucose. And this is the food of the plant. So why do we learn about photosynthesis? Well, if you had listened carefully, I did mention about oxygen. And if you know about oxygen, this is what animals need to live off of. And so it is important for us to learn about photosynthesis to understand why we understand the relationship between plants and animals. Plants will give off oxygen, when animals breathe, we take in oxygen and we give off carbon dioxide. Likewise, plants will take in carbon dioxide and give oxygen. Photosynthesis is a very, very important basis for the this is a very important necessity in order for life to be able to run. Without plants, we cannot breathe. We will not have oxygen to breathe. Without us, without us or animals, plants will not have carbon dioxide to breathe. And so I hope you got a lot out of this lesson. And to test your knowledge, I will give you a 5-question quiz. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a pleasant day.